Right, how's it going, guys? Welcome to another video. I'm going to be showing you how I have been successfully propagating my Philodendron micans, which is currently one of my favourite houseplants in my collection, and it's growing crazy. It's grown about, I'd say 3 new leaves since I've had it, not in total, I mean like per stem. So it's been doing really well. You can see here actually, there you see this end there, that's where I took one of the cuttings. That is a very bad cut. You shouldn't leave like dead stem on like that, but anyway. And you can see that that's how much has grown since I cut that. So my one is doing really nicely. I got this from Perrywoods for $6.99 I think it was, which I've got on one of my, I have a Perrywoods haul video, which is in that video, and you'll be able to look at the size difference on that, but that's looking really nice. I just love the colour, and the underside is like a nice, it's like a DP reddy colour, but it's like no other plant. I really like this. I did want to have it hanging originally, but I've not really found a spot for it to hang perfectly. So yep, that's my Philodendron micans. It's just so nice. So the two methods I've used for propagation is the water method, which most people on YouTube seem to favour, and I just put it in a glass, just a glass, and as you can see there, if you can see that, there's 2 roots growing out of it. Again, I should not have left that much of the stem on, but that is successfully rooted, and that is in dire need of compost. That's been in there for about probably about 3 weeks. And then my other method that I've chose, which I prefer and I think has shown more success in a way, this is a separate project, but I took off a philodendron cutting and I put it in the soil here, and if you can see that green growth there, that is looking a lot healthier and shows that it's like rooted successfully, because when I took it that green shoot wasn't there. But I prefer the look of that, because that shows a lot more signs of health and like vigor than the water cutting, because it hasn't opened, it hasn't changed for a long time, and it's in the water, which is obviously minimal nutrients, and this is in compost, which has nutrients in it. So really, I'd advise propagating in soil, in sterile compost, rather than water, because with water, yeah, you can see when it's growing its roots and it's really easy, but it's just as easy to take cuttings in compost, and I promise you your results will be a lot better, and they will just establish a lot quicker in compost. Because, so like I've got this in water, I'm then going to put it in the compost. It's going to take another couple of weeks to really, its roots to adjust to the compost and start growing again, because it's going to go through shock, because it's going from a completely water environment to conditions that are going to dry out a little bit every now and again, and it's going to take longer to establish. So I'm going to take a cutting, well I'm not sure if I will take a cutting, but I'll show you where you should take cuttings on the philodendron, because it's a very, very easy plant to take cuttings from, because it tells you where it wants to root. So like you can look on this stem here, you're going to want to select somewhere that has a mature leaf already, and you can see here it's already sending roots out of its stem, and at every node it is sending roots out. So you can take a cutting anywhere along the nodes, just make sure it has one mature leaf on at least, and you can take it with a growing point on, or you can take it like the one that I've taken in the compost, where I just cut one node off and pop that in the soil, and it's grown, and it's growing a new bud. So every new shoot that comes through, it sends out roots straight away. If you look through your plant, you will find some stems that have roots that look like they're really starting to grow quite long, like there, I know it's a really bad angle, but they will establish a lot quicker than if you are to take a cutting where the roots are small or dead. So, and this one here, look at the length of the roots on there. So it's just really easy to take cuttings of, and that's where you're going to want to cut. So for instance, I'd cut across there and then just plonk that in the dirt or in the water, and that will grow. It would take about 3 weeks to kind of root properly, and ideally you'd put it into a container where you're going to keep it rather than having to move it around. Unlike me, I've stuck it awkwardly in the middle of this other propagation. So but mine was just experiment, and I just thought I don't want to put up a new pot, so I just stuck them in there. But that's how you'll go about propagating them. They'll grow a lot quicker in compost. So right, so you can really see the colour nicely in this from this angle with the light shining through the back of the leaf. So where was the stem? Right, I'm going to cut this stem here just to show you how to take the cuttings. So there's a mature leaf here, then we've got an active growing point. So they're the roots that I want to grow. So I'm going to go back to the previous node, cut just in front of it, if I can see. Cut just in front of that. So I'm having minimal dead material on there. And then with this cutting here, because I want this part to grow, this is all going to die or be buried under the compost. So I'm going to want to cut this as well. So about there, and then discard of that part. And then this here can just go into the compost. Just bury that just a centimetre about there. Or if you prefer, you can obviously put it in water. But I'm just going to be growing mine in compost. So let me change over to here. I'm going to be potting it with this guy, so just poke a little hole with my finger. You can use perlite, that sort of thing, and that would be better, but I'm going to keep on top of watering and I'm not going to let it dry out. So it's as simple as that, and then in about 2-3 weeks time it will start growing. So it's as simple as that, and really easy, very beginner friendly, because the plant is already showing you where it wants to grow its roots, so you don't need to be a plant guru or really know what you're doing. It kind of tells you where to do it. So really easy, and every cutting I've taken, well, I've taken 2 cuttings, neither of them have died, so 100% success rate so far. But yeah, it's really easy, and I'm going to propagate mine just to produce a thicker main plant. So I'm going to be planting them back in the pot to get more shoots growing out. But you can obviously do whatever you want with them. But yeah, it's as simple as that. I'll leave it there before I rant on too much, but thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.